That's Donald Trump's right-hand woman, Trump Executive Vice President Carolyn Kepcher, and one of his advisors on The Apprentice. And after nearly 10 years working for Mr. Trump and no doubt capitalizing on her Apprentice fame, she's dispensing some of her own business advice in a new book called Carolyn 101, Business Lessons from the Apprentice's Straight Shooter. And it's nice to see you again. Welcome.
Good to see
Congratulations.
you.
Round two seems to be just as big a hit as round one.
If not better, I think so.
Are you having fun with it?
I'm having fun. It's a great experience. How could you not
Some people think you're actually the tough one on The Apprentice. You know, Donald may be the one that gets to say you're fired at the end, but you're the one who rakes them back and forth over the coals beforehand. Do you think you're the tougher customer?
Well, I say this. I'm not brutal. I'm just brutally honest. And I think I just state the obvious at times, or state things that people want to say, perhaps. But I don't think I come up with anything so different that's just not in front of me.
But I sense that your patience level this time around is maybe a little lower than it was with the first round of Apprentice. Let's just take a look.
I might be a little guilty
at the women at the ice cream store, and I know you know the moment I'm talking about. Roll the tape.
But it turned into what I call just team havoc.
So let's just pretend we're selling to a restaurant. Okay. What would be interesting for them?
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary. Old Bay sorbet. Chinese pineapple cake.
Upside down pineapple cake.
Oh, lobster ice cream.
I'm seriously thinking batter.
Ricotta.
Tiramisu. Right.
Mascarpone.
Cotton candy.
How about butter? Fried Twinkie. Champagne cocktails. That was great. That was awesome.
It's absolute, utter chaos.
Well, she got that part right. It was absolute, utter chaos. Give us the businesswoman's perspective. What happened there? Because it sure didn't look like it was going right.
Well, no, it wasn't going right. And that boardroom probably lasted over 3 hours. And was I frustrated? I was absolutely frustrated. The women were a little exhausting. And they took this one task of creating an ice cream, and they asked every expert there is about ice cream, what's the best, the highest-selling ice cream? And they said vanilla. Just put something in vanilla and it will sell. They didn't even pick vanilla. And they picked out a flip chart that had 500 ice cream flavors. You saw from lobster to, they were really going to go with port ice cream as their #1 flavor, and Bloody Mary ice cream, and they just price points and this, and they just overanalyzed and pointed the finger at everybody. And after 2 or 3 hours, it was a little trying. So
it was a little trying, and you let them have it, and you let them have it, but good. And here's what happened when they got into the boardroom.
You had 8 hours to scoop ice cream and sell it to a consumer. Not rocket science. If I gave this task to a 10-year-old child, 10-year-old would say, let's go where there's a lot of people and scoop out a cup and sell it. It's ice cream. That's it. You failed.
It's ice cream. That's it. You failed. You let them have it, and they deserved it.
Well, it was the bottom line. It was ice cream. They just had to sell ice cream.
Here's what's different, though, about The Apprentice in real life. You're the executive. You're the boss. You're standing there watching what goes down. Now, in real-life business, the boss is off doing boss stuff, and you may be wreaking havoc privately, but he or she doesn't know. So when you say in your book, always make a good presentation to the boss, they might have had a great idea if you think port wine ice cream is a good idea, and you wouldn't have known about the chaos that led up to it.
Perhaps. And what actually I was surprised about, I'll say the women in this task, you see them in the suite and you see them bickering, you see them catfighting. And what absolutely surprised me, especially in the last episode with Gen C, they brought it to the boardroom. And they basically said, we have problems, we can't work together. And here I am thinking, my God, if you have a problem, if I have a problem, I'm going to run to Donald Trump and say, I'm not getting along with my staff. You fix it. And then you go into the boardroom and you act like professionals. You at least act like you're working together. And that wasn't there.
You mentioned Gen C. She was fired from the show, and it looks like she might be fired in real life, too. On the show, she described 2 of the restaurant patrons as older Jewish women. And the real estate firm in New York City for whom she works is now reportedly going to be letting her go because of that. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's unfortunate. I think Gen C was, without a doubt, stressed. They were all working on very little sleep. Her frustrations came out. I'm certainly not condoning what she did. And, you know, what she said is what she said. And when you go on a show like this, you've got to understand that everything you say is going to be caught on tape. I think it's unfortunate, and I can't speak for her real estate company. Sure. But it's got to be tough. I mean, you know, losing your job, it's tough.
You've gotten to where you are career-wise because you got the job, you went up the ladder, you worked hard, you got the breaks, they went your way, and you made them pay off for you. What do you think about this phenomenon today where there are close to 1 million people applying to be on The Apprentice because they think that's their ticket to fame and success, as opposed to doing it the way you did?
Well, I will say that all the contestants who are chosen have worked very hard to even be selected. So I think just being selected is an achievement in itself. When you look at 18 people out of 1 million applicants, they should just be happy. I certainly would. I think they should just be very happy that they were chosen. That's such an accomplishment in itself.
But having said that, it's hard work for you and the rest of the team on the other side of the board table, is it not?
It is very difficult. It's difficult in the beginning when there's 9 and 9 and there's 18 people you're looking at, and then it even gets tougher in the end when you're like, oh God, there's only 2 or 3 people, and that's when it kind of gets very difficult. But it's very trying. Why do you do it then? What's in it for you? It's a great experience, and Donald asked me to do it. And so I certainly did. And I think not only the contestants learned, but I think I've learned. George Ross has learned. Donald has learned. We've all taken something out of this, whether it be business aspects or just a little enjoyment, camaraderie. But it's been great. I'd do it again.
George Ross may have learned, but he hasn't earned. And there's an article in Broadcasting and Cable, which is kind of an industry Bible for the television business, in which he says he hasn't gotten paid. Have you not gotten paid for all this work we see you do on TV?
Well, certainly I'm on Donald Trump's salary anyway, but I don't, unlike George.
But I mean paid extra. Donald's getting like
George.
50 grand an episode and 3.2 million for the next 2.
I should have his job. No.
Does that not, I mean, George says he doesn't think that's equitable.
I have never in my life ever spoke about my salary, and I'm certainly not going to. If he chooses to go down that path, I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay, we'll let that go. I'm going to come back at you, though. We're going to take a break, and we'll think of a way to get this out of Carolyn Kepcher in just a moment. And we're going to learn more about her secrets for success, and Lord knows she knows a little bit about it. We'll be back.